Hit it. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Welcome, welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Welcome, welcome back. I am so glad you joined me. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome back, my beloved kings and queens. My name is Joyce McTier. I'm coming to you all today with a Q&A. Now, a lot of these questions that I am going to be talking about or answering, I should say today, comes from you all, my supporters, okay? So let's go ahead and get into this video. Enough said, okay? I have, let's see, 3 beautiful queens that wrote me some questions. I have one person that asked me more than one question, but I cannot find the question that she asked. So I'm going to try to answer it the best way I can. So Mrs. Jones sent me a question. I'm thinking that she sent this question to me a couple months ago. She wanted to know what item or tool I used to put holes in my wood pieces. When I first started making jewelry, okay, everything I always did it with my round nose pliers. These pliers that I got from Walmart. This is pretty much, I would say, this is the second pair of pliers that I have ever bought. But these are 3-in-1 pliers. And on these pliers, you have a round nose, you have wire cutters in the middle, and you have pretty much like a flat nose. Okay? So these are 3-in-1 pliers. And what I would do, I would take my pliers, my round nose at the top, and just push down and put a hole in my wood pieces that didn't have holes in them. But I'm going to say maybe in 2019 or 2020, one of my subscribers, her name is Mrs. Clark. I will never forget you, Miss Clark. Miss Clark, she told me about this thing from Walmart, and this is what it is. It's called an AWL, AWL. And it costs about maybe $3 to $4 at Walmart. Now, Walmart used to sell these on a regular, okay? And this thing, the point on this is so sharp that it will go through anything. I think you can use this on anything, not just wood. I think you can use it on leather. You can use it on denim. You can use it on pretty much anything, okay? But to answer your question, Miss Jones, this is what I use to put holes in my wood. My next question is from Mrs. Martha Fontaine. And Miss Martha wanted to know, she sees that I use a variety of many different things as far as Gorilla Glue, E6000, and hot glue gun. And she wanted to know which one. She said, how do I decide which one to use? Now, I'm going to tell you, it depends on the project. It depends solely on the project. If you are gluing a gem onto something, then I would go with either E6000 or Gorilla Glue. And the reason why you want to choose carefully what type of adhesive you use is because you want to make sure that whatever you are gluing stays permanent. One of the worst things that can happen is you use your hot glue gun on something that you should have used E6000 or your Gorilla Glue on, okay? So you really have to make sure that you think about whatever it is that you're making or creating, okay? You have to make sure you think about and choose wisely on what to use. You can use your glue gun, okay? I use my glue gun to glue things on as well. It just depends on what it is. I can use my glue gun. A lot of times I'll take a piece of felt, okay? If it's wood, I'll take a piece of felt. I will glue the felt down to the wood, and then I would add whatever piece I'm going to add onto the wood, onto the felt. Because the one thing about felt, okay, once you glue that to anything, it doesn't really matter. It stays. It's a permanent thing, okay? Once you add your glue gun, it's permanent. I should have had some stuff in the front of me to really explain it to you all, but if you have a wood piece and you are gluing something on your wood piece, use a small piece of felt to glue that on first, your felt, and then glue whatever you're going to be gluing onto your wood, onto the felt, using your glue gun. Now, when you do it that way, that's permanent. A lot of times when y'all see me using my glue gun, I may glue my cowrie shells onto my earrings, okay? But before I sell those earrings, I make sure that if I'm not sure on how it's going to last or hold up, then I will use my Gorilla Glue, okay? You have to really think about when you're making and creating stuff to sell. If you're making it for yourself, then it doesn't really matter, because if it falls off and fall apart or whatever, you can fix it again. But I'm talking about the things that you decide that you want to sell for people to buy, okay? Now, my very last question is from Mrs. Cassandra. And Miss Cassandra wanted to know, now I'm a little confused about this question because I didn't know if you were asking about copper wire or regular wire. You know, there's a lot of different types of wire. I was assuming that you were talking about copper wire. Now, when it comes to copper wire, you have 16 gauge, you have so many gauges. This is 16. This is a 20 gauge. This is 18. And I have 14 gauge. Okay? Now with copper, the smaller the number, the thicker the copper, the harder it is to work with. Okay? The harder it is to work with. Now, my advice to you, when you're working with copper, because she says she's starting to work with, I think, 10 and 14 gauge. I'm thinking that it's 10 and 14 or 12 and 14 or something around like that. Once you start getting into coming down to the smaller numbers, this is 14 gauge wire. You got to have something that can really work this wire. And I'm going to tell you, get yourself some gloves, because I do wear gloves from time to time, because sometimes this wire will tear your hands up. You also have to have certain pliers, okay? Now, these pliers I got from the Home Depot, and these are called DeWalt. These are called DeWalt, and these are awesome. Okay, they will cut anything. Let me show you. This is 14. Check this out. See? Simple. Okay? Go and see if you can find yourself a pair of these. This is what you want to use when you're using copper wire, when it's the thick wire. Now, if you get to 10 gauge copper wire and 12 gauge copper wire, you're going to be really working. But 14 is not too bad, but 10 and 12 is going to give you a run for your money. So you definitely want to make sure you have the right pliers. These here are flat nose pliers. Now, these here on the inside, they do have ridges. Okay, So if you are, this pair have ridges. Now, not all flat nose pliers have ridges. Some flat nose pliers in between are really nice and smooth. This have ridges at the top, but in the middle right here is smooth. So that if you're making something and you're twisting it or bending it or turning it, it won't scratch your wire. Okay? See what I'm doing? So you want to make sure that you have the correct and right pliers when you are using copper wire. And I mean the thicker copper wire, not the small one, because these right here, the 20 gauge, this is no problem. The 18 is no problem. And the 16, those are no problem. But when you get down to the 10, the 12, and the 14, it is going to give you a little run for your money, okay? So, with that being said, my beloved kings and queens, I want to take this time to say thank y'all. I am done with this Q&A. And if you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I will be doing these videos as often as I can when I can get a chance to get them done. So just bear with me, okay? So with that being said, until my next upload, peace and blessings, everyone. And I hope y'all are continuing to stay safe. Peace and blessings. See ya.